Hello and welcome to FinextraTV. I'm Alex Lippic. You join us at Money2020 here in Amsterdam, and I'm very pleased to be joined at the table by Pac O'Shea of the Round Treasury. Thank you ever so much for being here, Pac.
Thank you, Alex.
So if you could kindly start off by bringing us up to date and letting us know what you see as the core challenges within Treasury management. Start there.
Well, I guess to understand what the challenges are, you kind of need to understand how businesses are managing their treasury at the moment.
Sure.
So we're focused particularly on earlier stage businesses, so C through to Series C. And typically the way they've been managing their treasury over the past 5-10 years is just with banks, like traditional banks.
Sure.
But as businesses scale, their needs become more complex, especially now. Like if you look at the CFO, their job has traditionally been kind of a chartered accountant role. But as kind of like technology has evolved and globalization, their job has gone from just accounting to everything from risk management, hedging, FX, investments. And a lot of these CFOs don't have a background in capital markets or investment or risk management. So the tools that are out there for them, that's the first challenge, is they're just dealing with banks. So they typically have their cash across a number of different banks. So the first big challenge is essentially cash visibility, which is where's my cash, how much cash do I have, and just having an understanding of your treasury. So that's the first one. The second one is, I guess, availability of products and access to products. Because I mentioned they're not in the kind of capital market space. They just kind of say, okay, I'll take what I'll get from my bank. Or the other option for them is to open multiple different bank accounts to try to get access to better products.
Right.
But they're all the same products. So that's the second problem, which is accessibility and kind of like the time that it takes to do that. But then as businesses scale, there's a bit more of a challenge, which is a bit more upstream from that, which is actually around like your cash flow and managing the liquidity on the back of that. Because as a CFO, in order to manage your cash effectively, you need to have forward-looking indicators. So you need to be able to see, when is my money coming out of my account? What's the incomings into my accounts receivable? And based on that, what is my treasury and how long should I lock these up for? So that's the first problem, which is making that decision. But then once you've made that decision, there's a tail end piece, which is actually managing off the back of that, which is essentially saying, okay, now when do I need to withdraw that money? How much do I need to withdraw? So they're kind of the core challenges just in the treasury space. And there's a lot more on the FX and as you scale into enterprise, but I can't speak as much on that area.
No, that's great, and thank you for giving us a real insight and identifying those challenges for us, Pac. So I'd be really interested to know why you think the Treasury is the sort of the last space to start innovating, it seems. Why is that?
That's a really difficult question. I have my own theories. So obviously there's like the whole, like the catalyst, which is SVB crashing, rise in interest rates. So as a result of that, suddenly everyone's looking at their treasury and thinking, oh crap, I should maybe diversify my treasury. If I have 10, 20, 30 million in my treasury, earning an extra couple of percent on that, that's like quite a lot to the bottom line, like hundreds of thousands for some businesses. So suddenly treasury management becomes actually a significant initiative that can move the needle for your business. But I think going back to the actual question of why it's the last to innovate, honestly, because I think treasury is like the unsexiest of all of the kind of pieces in the financial stack. And usually what happens in fintech is innovation happens on the consumer side and the incumbents get disrupted, and then that trickles down a few years later into B2B. But all the businesses focus first on enterprise and then all the sexy tools, and it goes down to like payments and automation. And like here at Money2020, you have every second stall is a international payments business, because that was all the kind of like the trend before. And I think now as like the incumbents are getting unbundled, it's like, okay, what is left to unbundle? And thinking of that, along with the catalyst of SVB and rising interest rates, Treasury is kind of the last piece of that stack.
So it's the last bit of the puzzle, if you like, at the moment.
Yeah.
Really honest answer. Thank you for that, Pac. So, looking forwards as best we can without our crystal ball, what's next? Do you think? What do you see in the future in terms of treasury management?
Again, another difficult question. I have my ideas. So I guess like what I just mentioned about kind of going down that stack of unbundling and people building very niche vertical solutions. And you end up with a lot of different products in the fintech space. And what we're seeing is that CFOs and scale-ups typically use about 10 different financial products. You'll have multiple different bank accounts, your Ys for just FX. You'll have an AP platform, a hedging platform. You might have an account with a broker or a wealth manager for your investments. And while the unbundling has created like some great products and innovations and efficiencies, it's created a huge amount of admin overhead for CFOs. And what I'm seeing, speaking to CFOs, is they are crying out for essentially the rebundling. They're like, these products are great, but can you essentially bring it back into one like holistic, horizontal platform, so I can manage all of my cash end to end just through one portal. So where I see treasury management going is that I don't see the winners in the space as just focusing on treasury. It's going to be the ones who can look at the entire banking and financial stack holistically and essentially start to integrate everything, because treasury is linked to accounts receivable, it's linked to accounts payable, it's linked to your payments, it's linked to your salary and payroll and your employees. So I see the future of treasury and just fintech in general getting rebundled into a single platform, and I think the person who's going to win and build $1 billion business is the person who can, or the team that can execute that successfully.
Yeah, so effectively bringing all these elements together and just making it as seamless a process as possible is the end goal.
It's the whole like bundling, unbundling, bundling, unbundling.
Sure.
Like there's efficiencies, then it gets too inefficient, and then you bundle again, and you build a big monolith, and then they come around and unbundle that all over again, and the cycle continues.
It'd be great to see how things develop moving forwards.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed speaking to you, and a real honest discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
Cheers.